Welcome back to Silk Warrant. Today in this story is about the moment I stopped being a patient and started an investigation.
The manila folder was sitting on my kitchen table the morning I got the bill. Labeled, in someone else's handwriting, Patient 7741C, that was me. A number, a hyphen, a letter. The bill smelled like toner, fresh printed, still faintly warm. At the bottom, the number read, $340,000, for a surgery I did not agree to, did not sign for, and was unconscious during, in a way no one at Meridian General Hospital has ever explained to me. I set the folder on top of it, picked up my yellow legal pad. And I thought, they have no idea I used to work for the state. What I did with that folder, what's inside it now, should not exist. 14 months before that bill arrived, I was sitting in a waiting room at Meridian General Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, watching a daytime talk show on a mounted TV with no sound. Closed captions lagging half a second behind. My hands were cold. They're always cold in hospitals. I had come in for what my primary care doctor called a routine evaluation. Pain under my right ribs. 3 weeks, probably nothing, probably dietary. She wanted imaging, a specialist, just to rule things out. I was 41 years old. I had good insurance. Blue Cross. Through my husband Daniel's employer. I had no reason to be afraid. And that's the part I want you to notice. How normal that sounds. How ordinary, a woman in a waiting room, cold hands. Watching a silent TV, nothing about that moment felt like the beginning of anything. The intake coordinator's name was Shelby, young, efficient. She handed me a clipboard of forms with practiced indifference. I signed consent to treatment, consent to billing, HIPAA acknowledgement, emergency contact. But I did not sign anything authorizing gallbladder removal, and I did not sign anything approving full general anesthesia beyond standard sedation. That matters. Because from this point on, precision is everything. The gastroenterologist, Dr. Harmon, was pleasant. He reviewed my scans, said the gallbladder looked inflamed, but not dangerous. He recommended an endoscopic procedure, minimally invasive, outpatient, light sedation, home by 3 o'clock. I woke up at 7:14 p.m. with a breathing tube being pulled out of my throat. Waking from anesthesia isn't like waking from sleep. It's like being assembled, piece by piece. Sound comes first, then sensation, then thought. I heard the beeping, felt the tube, then the pain. 3 incision sites, covered in surgical tape. A nurse named Patricia leaned over me, gentle voice, calm hands. She said the procedure went well, that they had removed my gallbladder. That I'd be sore for a week or 2. I said I didn't consent to that. She patted my arm, said the doctor made the call once he was inside, said it happens sometimes. Said someone would come explain everything. I closed my eyes, still coming back together, but one part of me was already awake, the part that used to work in regulatory compliance. The part that listens, that tracks, that counts. The recovery coordinator came in shortly after, Beverly Crane. She entered with a smile first, clipboard held like a shield. Her job was patient billing and resolution, which really means she talks to patients before they call a lawyer. She explained something called intraoperative necessity. That if a doctor decides something is urgent during a procedure, they are allowed to act without new consent. She said it calmly, like she had said it many times before. Click. Her pen tapped once. Click twice, click 3 times. I noticed that. I noticed things like that. I asked to see the documentation that justified the decision. She said I could request it. 5 to 7 business days. I said I wanted to start now. Click, click, click. She smiled, said of course. The bill arrived 6 weeks later. $340,000, 11 pages. Anesthesia billed hourly for over 4 hours. Supplies priced far above standard rates. Recovery room charged twice. Duplicate entries buried deep in the paperwork. Easy to miss if you do know where to look. I sat at my kitchen table, placed the bill under the folder, opened my legal pad. At the top, I wrote what they got wrong, and I started a list. I didn't call a lawyer, didn't go online, didn't panic. Because I learned something a long time ago: anger is a resource, and resources run out. So I used it carefully. I requested everything. Full medical records, not summaries, the raw chart, anesthesia logs, nursing notes, timestamps, everything from those 14 hours. It took 11 days, not 7. I wrote that down too. When the records came, I spread them across the dining table, and I read them the way I used to read insurance filings. Line by line, cross-referencing, looking for what didn't match. And then I found it. The report. It claimed my condition had suddenly become severe, a perforation risk. That phrase justified everything, but the timestamps told a different story. The scope procedure lasted 4 minutes. 4 minutes is not enough. Not for that decision, not by any standard. I verified it, pulled medical references, cross-checked protocols, and then I saw it. The language in my report was almost identical to a template I had flagged years ago during a compliance audit. Same wording, same structure, different hospital back then, same pattern now. I sat there for a long time, then I picked up the phone, and I called someone I used to work with, Carol Whitfield. She answered on the second ring. I said, "I think I found something. And I think I can prove it." She told me something I didn't know. Meridian General had already been flagged, twice, not investigated, flagged. There's a difference. Flagged means it sits in a queue. Investigated means someone pulls the thread. No one had pulled it yet. They didn't have the people, didn't have the time. I said, "I'll do it." She said it would take certification. 12 weeks. I said I helped design it. There was a pause, then she laughed and said, "Send your resume." Daniel didn't understand at first. Late nights, stacks of paper. He thought I was processing something. Grief maybe. He brought tea, told me to rest. Then one night he sat down, looked at the table, picked up a page, read it, and asked, "What do you need from me?" That's when he became part of this. I said, "I need the table, 6 months." He said, "Done." By week 9 I saw the pattern clearly. This wasn't one case, it was a system, upcoding, template justifications, 43 patients. 31 months, over $6 million. My case was just the one that exposed it. And then Patricia came back into the story. She had reported it months earlier. No one had acted until now. We met at a coffee shop. She held her cup with both hands, said she didn't think anyone would ever read it. I slid my card across the table and said I did. The hearing was in February. The room smelled like toner. Same smell, different meaning. They were all there: Dr. Harmon, Beverly Crane, the CFO, attorneys, binders, prepared arguments, but not prepared for this. I showed them everything, side by side, template, real case, and then I said nothing. Silence does the work, people fill it, and when they do, they reveal everything. They asked for a recess. 15 minutes. I stood by the window, gray sky, half-melted snow, and I thought, this is the last time I am patient. 7741 4 months later, the hospital settled. Millions paid back. Systems restructured. My bill gone, not reduced, erased. I kept the folder because they were right about one thing: I was just a patient. They were wrong about everything else. Patricia messaged me later, said she could finally breathe. I understood that. The legal pads are still with me, 3 of them now, full, because no one is always tracking what you're tracking. That can be a warning or a comfort. I walk into rooms differently now. Not louder, not harder, just more precise. And that's how you know something is over, when the details belong to you again. So before you go, think about this. If every room you walked into this past year could testify about you, not what you said, but what you noticed, what you kept, what you chose to act on, would it match who you think you are? Think about that.